Well, hello, this is Rochelle, and welcome to my channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do so and you'll see more videos like these. Well, today I realized that I am documenting this much slower than I'm actually drinking coffee. So, there will be two layouts in today's video. This is as part of my The Great Coffee Chronicles Saturday series, where I document all the lovely places where I've had coffee. You saw that I printed this little photo using my Canon Zoe Mini, which is a little mini printer. I put some paper on the edge of my journal so that I can stamp out these brushes. This specific brush stamp set is from Illustrated Faith, from a Created to Create devotional. I loved it, and there was a page I actually did with these brushes in my Bible similar to this, and I don't think there's a process video on that, so here you go. Process video that you can use in your Bible for Created to Create, and also in your journal if you want. I want you to expand your mind a bit. It's not just limited to one thing. You can use it for multiple things. So I'm stamping off the edge of this page, these brushes, so that's why I've got the little piece of paper on the side, just to protect my the other pages or the other pieces of the journal. And I'm cleaning off that on a lawn fawn chamois, which is just a normal stamp chamois, so that your stamps get good and clean. Okay, so what my plan is for this page is to have these brushes there, and then having little paint lines going across both pages as though these brushes painted these lines. So I'm taking various gelatos, I'm going to be scribbling them out on my non-stick craft mat, and then picking them up with a wet brush. The blue brush there is the Faber-Castell gelato brushes. They come with some of the older packs of gelatos. Actually, they come with the new packs as well. So, and these brushes are the best. They work great with acrylic paint. They work great with water paint. They just work great. This one has been well for the wear, but still does the job just fine. So again, scribbling the gelatos, picking it up with a wet brush. I've got a little water pot off to the side of the screen. And just picking up water, and here I'm using the Faber-Castell soft brushes. They're just as great. They've got this little rubber handle, and I think this is a size 10 round brush. So anyways, using that for the finer brushes. This coffee day was done at Shortcuts Craft. So I love coffee, duh. In the words of Homer Simpson. I used to watch The Simpsons when I was young. Haven't watched it since, but yeah, duh. So I'm using very muted down colors. I don't want the colors to be so bright and vibrant that it overwhelms the page. I want it to be background noise. And so I'm using some muted down colors, some olive greens and some nougat and hazelnut, colors like that. Oh, sorry, I think it's turmeric. Yeah, so anyway, some muted down colors to make these lines, because I want them just to be in the background. Like I said, this day of coffee is at Shortcuts Craft. I had attended a book binding or a little bookmaking day there, which is a class that was presented by Teresa Bauer, who's Trinket Treasures, and she does all kinds of beautiful silver stamping and mixed media. She's the boss of mixed media, and so we made these little journals, these little booklets with a hard cover, and covered it with material, and then embellished it with all kinds of mixed media thingies. And it was a interesting day. Best part of it was the coffee. Well, no, it's not the best part of it, but it was really a good part of it, the coffee. Shortcuts has this very cute little coffee shop, and the girls are just on point. They're on bringing the coffee as often as you possibly can ask. And so I was a little out of my comfort zone this day because of the whole getting everything dirty. we kind of laugh because I had just had my nails done the day before, and so working with the gel medium and all kinds of stuff kind of wrecked that, but it was worth it. I had a book that I even sewed, guys. I sewed the signatures together, like with needle and thread. This is from the girl who stapled my seam into my school dress in high school and left the staples there pretty much throughout the year that I wore it because I just don't know how to put in the seam, even much less sew a button or sew a signature to a book, which is what I did. So I was very impressed with myself and very thankful for the teaching opportunity that I had there, to be able to sit under Teresa and follow her beautiful method of making these books. And so I'm putting all kinds of arty stuff on this page because obviously it was all kinds of arty stuff that day. You'll see the gel medium is there to the side of the photo. I'm using some, I don't know, this color is like a petrol color, I would say. Alphas from the Creative Retreat Faith Art box for September. These alphas came with that. I am realizing that I need more. This is the most beautiful alpha that I've seen in a very long time. It's petite and the colors are just gorgeous, and I can see me using the outlines of these even. I just love it. So I'm spelling out Shortcuts Craft, lining up the edges or the ends of the word, of the three words, as opposed to the middle or the first letters, just to add some interest. Loving that very much. So you saw me stenciling with the gelatos. I scribbled them out on my non-stick craft mat, picked them up with a makeup foundation brush. This is actual bristles, it's not foam. And so I'm using that just through the stencil, and it makes this beautifully creamy, soft, textured look on the page through the stencil, and I love that. Using the Creative Retreat inks in mink and can't remember the blue, but it's navy. And using some of the stamps from earlier Creative Retreat sets to put their perfect and greatest, and I'm going to be using my Faber-Castell pen in a dark sepia to write out whatever it is that I am writing, which is the story I just told you about being able to bind a book and have coffee, be artsy and coffee. I don't know which one is greatest, but I think they've made each other great. So just journaling that out, and then I'm going to use some of the Kaiser Craft, I think it's Kaiser Craft stamps. I'm going to tell you in a second. Anyways, putting up stamps at the top. Sorry, this is from the Felicity Jane Megan kit, and it says lovely little moment, but I forgot that I had those Divine Creative Retreat enamel shapes on the back of this page, so stamping was just ridiculously difficult, and so you'll see my head up in there to try and align these stamps so that it says that lovely little moment. And on the other page I stamped love this life, because I really love being creative, having coffee, documenting having coffee. Just all of this makes me happy to a degree that I can't even tell you. I had some 3x4 journaling cards there that I thought I was going to use, but in the end ended up not using them, and that's okay. If you don't always go with your first plan, you can change it up, make it interesting, enjoy the journey. And so I'm just going to be stamping out my date. This was, like I said, in July, and we're already in October, and I'm still on July coffee. So there'll have to be double coffees for the next few weeks to try and catch up to where we are right now. I'm just writing out that since then, I had the opportunity to become a teacher, Bible journaling teacher at Shortcuts Craft, which I'm loving. It is, I just love doing it. I love seeing people journaling for the first time. It makes me super happy. Using some more enamel shapes from Creative Retreat. This is from the July box, and they had these little arrows, and I'm just enjoying using them very much. Also some dots, and I'm adding the dots to the wooden pieces of these brushes, paint brushes, and then just little piece on the 20 because I can. Very much enjoyed that, and I hope you did too. If you want to grab a cup of coffee and get ready for the next layout, let's do that. So for this piece, I'm using some paper that I bought at Her Annie's. Her Annie's is a craft shop here in Centurion that just has pretty much everything, except Faber-Castell. Why don't you have Faber-Castell just yet? So yeah, I get my Faber-Castell elsewhere, but these papers very cost effective at Her Annie's for this paper pack, and so I'm just using some of these papers, and I'm going to be using it to stick it into my traveler's journal as a whole. And so because this journal is full of fun enamel shapes, I'm working outside of the journal onto this paper before I am sticking it in. So I'm looking for a piece to mount my photo on that doesn't overwhelm the existing floral arrangement on this piece. And so I'm just going to be sticking my photo on, and then cutting it with my trimmer. I want the one edge torn though, so I just tore that so that the white from the tearing is on the outside. Anyway, so that you can see the little bit of white from the tearing on this page. I'm going to be putting that in the bottom right hand corner. So my photo's over there, and today's coffee, or this specific day's coffee, which I think it was on the 26th of July, something like that, Ruth and I went to a little place called Rainbow Books. Now I know this background is not exactly rainbow, but they had these really vintage looking cups at Rainbow Books with these hearts on, and I just loved how soft and beautiful it looked, and so I wanted to kind of recreate the feeling of the coffee and not the sound of the name. So even though it's Rainbow Books, I'm still toning it down a whole lot to be able to reflect this feeling that one gets when you drink coffee here. So I'm using some Kaiser Craft stamps, flowers that I thought matched well with the flowers on the opposite page, just to kind of tuck behind my photo, and I kind of like that. I stamped it with the Creative Retreat Mink pigment ink. This is a new pigment ink, and I very much like this color. It is a lovely soft brown, and so I'm picking out my little wooden typewriter alphas, and I very much like the way that looked. It's very tone on tone, so seeing it on camera is not very easy, but I promise you it's there. So I'm spelling out Rainbow Books with the tile alphas, or sorry, the wooden typewriter alphas, I would say. These were just a buy from the Crazy Store. They come in a little box, and with some ink that never works. So using proper ink for that, but spelling out Rainbow Books. And then I'm going to be taking some more of these phrase stamps from this Kaiser Craft stamp set to stamp out the date first. So that's the 26th of July, like I said, and I'm using the same date stamps that I've been using since the beginning of the Coffee Chronicles, and I'm also using some of these phrases, like I said, to stamp out "you make me smile" or "you make me happy," something like that, and "loving you is easy." I enjoyed these stamp sets, or the stamp set. It has quite a nice few phrases, and enjoying that. So then I'm taking the lighter brown color to write out. I wanted to initially have it go over both pages, but I forgot, And by the time I realized it, I was already in the middle of this textured background, and so reading it is a little bit difficult, but I can do it. And so it's not the end of the world, but that does leave me with this blank piece or space on the left side page, which I didn't very much like. So taking my Nuvo crystal drops and just adding some little drops around this flower so that it just pops a bit, and then I'm going to be stamping with one of those stamps again on this side in a vertical way. Loving you's easy, I think. Yes, that's what I stamped. Loving you's easy. And then I remembered seeing this little butterfly at the bottom of my page. I remembered that I had a butterfly stamp, and I will be adding that in a minute. I was a little silly with this creative retreat, with the Nuvo crystal drops, putting them on because they are obviously still wet, and if I want to stick this page on, I can't turn my page around and add the sticky stuff. I need to, the tape runner, I need to stick it in another way. So I'm going to be stamping these little butterflies first, and then I'm going to be adding the tape runner to the white piece of the page and not directly onto the little piece that I'm sticking in, so that it fits still. And doing that, I got some glue on a piece that I didn't want glue on, so I'm using a Xyron glue eraser to take off that sticky pieces of the glue. It's not a perfect match, the paper. There is a little white border around. It doesn't fuss me much. I like that. So that is then that for this layout. Thank you again for joining me. I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.